Welcome back again. I want us to do the arithmetic sequence. So you will see that the general term for an arithmetic sequence is Tn is equals to A plus n minus 1 times D. So Tn here tells us about the value, and n here tells us about the position, and the D here tells us about the common difference, and the A here tells us about the first term. A is always the first term of any sequence, and yeah, I want to clarify the difference between the Tn and n. So Tn tells us about the value at position n. So n is the position and Tn is the value at that position. So when they say calculate the value of the 10th term, that means we want the value at position 10. And when they give you a position and when they give you a value and ask you to calculate the position of that value, then we will solve for n. So here I put a few it says T1 is equals to A plus, where we see n, we put 1. So it's 1 minus 1 times D. So 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 times D is 0. So the first term is A. It's always 1. It's always A. A is always the first term. And on T2, I put 2 where I see n, and it gives me A plus D. This pattern continues over and over again. This here is Tn minus 1. Where I see n, I put n minus 1, and I get A plus n minus 2 D. And let's continue. It looks like we have an activity here, and I'll try to answer it over here. Consider an arithmetic sequence below, starting with 17, 22, 27. It looks like we are adding by 5 here. From 17 to 22 is plus 5, so it's plus 5. From 22 to 27 is plus 5. So our D here is 5, our A is 17, and the first question says determine the value of the 10th term. Here we're looking for Tn, you're not looking for n. So I will try to answer it here. So Tn is equals to, let's start first by, no, T10 rather, sorry, T10 is equals to the value of the 10th term, okay, A plus 10 minus 1 times D is equals to A plus 9D, like this here. And we know our A and we know our D, so we can plug in to get the 10th value. The value of the 10th term. So it's A, our A is 17, sorry about that. 17 plus 9 times D, our D is 5, common difference is 5. And let me get a calculator. So it's 17 plus 5 into 9. It gives me a value of 62. So the value at position 10 is 62. And let's move on to another question. This was A. Let's go on to B. Determine the nth term of this sequence. So here we are looking for the general term. So we know that the Tn is equals to A plus n minus 1 D. Our A is 17. Our n we don't know. and our d is 5, like that here. 5 times n gives me 5n. 5 times minus 1, it gives me minus 5. So Tn is equals to 5n. 17 minus 5, I think that is 12. So plus 12, like this here. So this is our general term for any position here. If we want the 20th position, we can put 20 here and we'll get the value at that position. So let's move on to number C. It says determine how many terms are in this sequence. So we have the last term and we have the first term. So I don't think that will be difficult for us to find. You know that Tn is equals to 5n plus 12. So let's put in 137 here on Tn, because we are trying to find how many terms we had before we got to, how many terms we have starting from 17 to 137. So how many terms do we have? You're gonna find out now. It's equals to 5n plus 12. I'm gonna bring this 12 to this side, so it's gonna be 137 minus 12 gives me 125. Gives me 125. It's 137 minus 12 is equals to 5n. So n is equals to 125 divided by 5. Divided by 5 gives me 25. So we have 25 terms here. In this sequence here, we have 25 terms. From 17 to 137, we have 25 terms. And let's move on to the last question. Determine the term that is a value of 92. So here we're given a value and we are asked to calculate n. We're going to use the same formula there. Is Tn is equals to 5n plus 12. So 92 is equals to 5n plus 12. 92 minus 12, I believe that's 80. I will verify that, but I believe it's 80. And let me say 92 minus 12. Yes, it's 80 divided by 5. It gives me 60. So n is equals to 60. So it tells us that at position 60, we will get a value of 92. And I will see you in the next video where we will be discussing the series. So bye.